Here's the thing about what it takes to make a woman orgasm. No two of us are alike, especially when it comes to our G-spot. All of us have a special code that is unique to us that gets us there. And every time you are with a new partner, a part of the fun is figuring out exactly what makes her tick. Unfortunately, this also means that just because that sequence of techniques and finger placements that worked on your last partner doesn't mean it'll do it for the next one. In fact, every time you're with someone new, it is best to throw out pretty much everything you think you know and start from scratch. And this is true even in the same woman's body from time to time. What worked on her G-spot last week might not work this week. Being able to tune into each lover's body and its specific needs in that exact moment are what separates the good lovers from the exceptional lovers. And in this video, I'm going to share a foolproof way to break her code. Stimulating a G-spot to orgasm is an art, but it can also be approached as a science. And this is where A/B testing comes in. By the way, if you are not already a subscriber, I encourage you to hit that button below now so that you never miss a video on all things designed to improve your sex and relationships. So before I tell you about how to A/B test, let's just quickly make sure that we are all 100% clear on how to locate her G-spot. It is on the anterior, that's a fancy word for front, wall of the vagina, usually about 1 to 2 inches up from the opening. If you insert a finger and feel around, you're going to reach a sponge-like squishy surface. It kind of feels like a super spongy walnut. And this is where you're going to focus all of your efforts. And in order to really set yourself up for success, it is important to remember that the G-spot engorges as blood rushes down through her vagina and she becomes fully aroused. This means that before you start the A/B test, she needs to be fully turned on. Before starting these techniques, make sure that she is fully ready to receive you. She's ready for you to insert your fingers into her body. And beyond that, maybe she's already been aroused for a long time. Make sure that you are touching her body, giving her the kisses and the strokes and the scratches and whatever else that she loves. Go down on her, all that good stuff. Remember that it can take women 20 to 40 minutes before they are ready to reach orgasm. So don't skimp out on this if you want to get the most out of the G-spot. So let's get to the question that's probably on your mind. What the heck is A/B testing, Caitlin? Well, A/B testing is a method of comparing two things to determine which performs better. Super simple. When it comes to sexual stimulation, it basically means switching between two different types of techniques, technique A and technique B, in order to see which one your partner responds to better. If you've ever seen any of my massage courses, my Yoni, Lingam, anal, and breast massage courses, I do A/B testing in each of those on live models, so you get to see it in action. This technique is so effective because most men just go through the motions of the techniques that they already know or learned without really stopping to figure out which one of them actually works for their partner. This makes making her come feel a bit like a shot in the dark every time. But by A/B testing and getting to know what specifically works and how she responds in this moment, you will be able to make her come consistently. In order for A/B testing to work, you need to make sure that you're getting feedback from your partner. You can listen to her and the cues of her body, but it is always best to directly ask her whether she likes touch A or B better. Make sure to communicate ahead of time that you are doing this because you want to know what works best for her. Now, let's dive into my step-by-step guide to A/B testing her G-spot. This is literally exactly how to do it. Number one, we're going to compare soft tapping with the come hither motion. The first two techniques to A/B test are soft tapping versus the come hither motion. Both of these motions involve applying pressure on the G-spot in a similar way, but most women tend to react much better to one or the other depending on their individual preferences. Before starting the technique, and this goes for all the techniques that I'm going to be sharing, make sure that your finger is well lubricated. Her own wetness, lube, even spit if that's part of your relationship agreement, but make sure that you don't go in dry. So you're going to insert 1 or 2 fingers into her and let them settle at her G-spot. For the soft tapping technique, you simply tap on her G-spot as if you were ringing the bell on a counter. Do it gently at first. Tell her this is touch A. Once you've gotten a little sense of how she responds to the soft tapping, it's time to move on to test B, the come hither motion. The come hither motion moves in the same direction as soft tapping, but the difference is that it is more of a fluid motion and also includes a bit of up and down. See how it's still kind of similar to tapping? This was tapping, but now we are making this fluid motion. This is touch B. So you tell her this is touch A and this is touch B. Same with the soft tapping. It is good to start light and slow and increase pressure and pace as you go. Feel free to ask your partner what would feel good for her and adjust accordingly. But know that if she's really in pleasure, it might be difficult for her to describe in any sort of nuanced way exactly how she needs you to adjust. That's the point of the A/B test, is that she doesn't have to think so much about it. Once you've given her a chance to sample both touches, ask her then which one she liked more, touch A or B. Now she might be able to say right away which one she preferred, or she might say that she liked both the same or neither. If she says that she liked A or B more, you can move on to testing different speed or different pressure. So say she liked come hither more, now you can do, okay, do you like this speed? This is speed A, or do you like this speed? This is speed B. See how this helps you to get deeper and deeper and deeper into what satisfies her, what's bringing her pleasure in that exact moment. You can also do the same with pressure, like try with a lighter pressure and then give her a firmer pressure and ask her which one that she liked more. And now you know what style of technique, what speed, and what pressure. Voila! Amazing. All right, let's move on to technique test number 2, the side to side versus up and down. Now that you know whether your partner prefers the fluidity of the come hither or the more staccato stimulation of the soft tap, you can test whether she responds better to an up and down or a side to side movement. Now these techniques are pretty self-explanatory. Once you've inserted your finger, you can try moving it east to west over the G-spot. After getting a clear sense of how she responds to that and the different pace and pressures in that technique, you can switch to up and down, north and south on the G-spot. And again, same pressure and speed. All right, test number 3, indirect touch versus anchoring. In order to really cover all of your bases, you want to be mindful of whether your partner prefers an anchored or an indirect touch on her G-spot. Now, an anchored touch is when you stay right on the G-spot, while indirect touch covers the area around the G-spot. This one is super important because while some women like for you to find the G-spot and stay on it with small movements, others prefer a large movement that sort of goes over the G-spot while stimulating the other areas, either around the G-spot or even further away on the vaginal wall. For the anchoring technique, you can place 2 fingers directly on the G-spot and maintain pressure as you do the technique in small movements, never taking the pressure off. So this can be the left to right, up and down. You can even do the come hither or the tapping, but holding it the whole time. For indirect touch, you want to gently spread your fingers so that they're resting on the outskirts of her G-spot. Think about it as like the 2 o'clock and the 10 o'clock. Stimulating her in all the same techniques while holding your fingers just off the G-spot gives her a very different sensation to try out. And of course, the whole time you're asking her, do you like touch A or do you like touch B more? All right, now let's talk about combining these techniques for a blended orgasm. Because by now, you should have a really clear sense of exactly how your partner likes to have her G-spot stimulated. Once you know what she responds to and what she doesn't, you're able to just throw the techniques that don't do it for her out the window and focus on the ones that will actually get her there. The next step is to figure out whether she's someone who comes from G-spot stimulation alone or if she needs the clitoral penetration combo in order to get her there. And this is important because there are many women out there who really struggle to come unless they have both types of stimulation simultaneously, while others can find this much touch to be very overwhelming. So how do you perform this final boss round of A/B testing? Well, it is simple. You just use the techniques that you've already determined to be her favorites, and then you also bring in clitoral stimulation either with your thumb or with your other hand or with a toy or by her hand, and you see how she responds to that combination. You can also do this while you're going down on her if that's comfortable for you. Like I said, you can play around with how the clit gets stimulated. You can even A/B test how the clit gets stimulated for most pleasure. And of course, as with all of the other techniques and everything else I have ever said on this channel, feedback is key here, so don't be afraid to communicate. I started this video by explaining the importance of foreplay, and how you finish any sexual encounter is just as important as how you began it. This is how you get invited back over because you were a good guest. When you're A/B testing, you are exposing your partner to a wide variety of sexual touch. If you're doing it very thoroughly, this should result in a big, powerful orgasm. Especially if your partner has a hard time coming, aftercare is a crucial part of closing this experience in a way that brings you closer together. It isn't uncommon for big emotions to come up after a woman has had a G-spot orgasm, especially if she hasn't had too many of them. And it is your job as her partner to hold space for whatever comes up. Some great and simple forms of aftercare are just connected physical touch, like a good cuddle, talking about what was great great about that experience, taking some deep breaths together. It is also important to communicate after the fact, just as you were during the A/B test. Talk about the experience, talk about what it was like, confirm which techniques she was into, talk about what you want to carry forward, what you've learned in this experience. If you are thorough about your A/B testing, you will be able to break the code to any woman's orgasm. Just remember to communicate, be patient, follow both her verbal and nonverbal communications as you are trying out all of these different G-spot techniques. And don't forget to subscribe to this here channel, because I will be here every week giving you everything you need to reach your sexual best. I'm Caitlin V. Thank you for watching, and I will see you here next time. Bye-bye.